So I would teach an entrepreneurship course. One of the student groups had this idea of Ripen, and they kind of built it out. I asked them if they wanted to do it because I really liked it. It was the best one, and they said yes. So I was like, change that, apply to this. You'll get $10,000. You guys will win because it is the best one. And start your business with 10,000, and that's what they did. And they got to a point where they said, we don't have experience doing this. Will you join? At that time, I was doing my PhD. I was teaching full time at a different university. So I was traveling back and forth from Victoria to Vancouver, and I said yes. The mission was to eliminate graduate underemployment. You had all sorts of people graduating and from all sorts of degrees into jobs, to any job they could take. And it was because, one of the biggest obstacles to employment, meaningful employment that's related to your work, is work experience. And you can't get work experience unless you get the job, and you can't get the job if you don't have any experience. So it's a catch-22. From an impact perspective, I can't tell you how many, when I was CEO, how many students emailed me saying, thanks to Ripen, I got this job, because they wouldn't have met that employer. They never would have gotten a chance, right? There's I can't even remember what the number is. I think it's like 20,000 SMEs, right? Small, medium-sized businesses have or are on Ripen or use Ripen, and so that connection never would have happened had it not been for Ripen. And so they're so thankful because they got the experience, but also got introduced to people. Again, another barrier is connections, right? So if you look at those two things, experience and connections, those will get you jobs. That's what Ripen does. Yeah. So Wakapa Financial is is my brainchild. Kind of with building Ripen and coming on and building especially the back end, the kind of the corporate infrastructure. We had traveled, so when I joined them, we moved from Victoria to Vancouver. I joined them in Vancouver, and then we went to Toronto, New York, and Boston. And along the way, I met, dozens, if not hundreds, of entrepreneurs. And with my research hat on, I was probably always wondering, what everybody was spending their time on and what they were doing. And a lot of them were trying to build their own corporate back ends without knowing how. So that's their accounting system, their HR system, any type of legal documents. What I finally found was that stuff was eating up a lot of time. And so in an otherwise healthy vertical, a business is going to fail, or startup's going to fail because the founders are spending too much time on that stuff. My second master's degree is in corporate finance, and so I look at it through that lens, and I look at all the new innovations in tech, and revenue streams, and how kind of old school costing to how do we put that to make sense for the next generation of companies. So because I had that training, I was able to do a lot of that and go, okay, well, if investors are looking for these key, kind of indicators, well, let's put them into the financials right away, and let's reorganize the financials so that we can do it. So I did that for Ripen, and then I started doing it for other companies. And so that's part of what Wakapa Financial does, is really builds out that back end. Though we do concentrate now on social finance. So we built out a new financial model for affordable home ownership.